Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Update, and this time, we're not just breaking news. We're confronting a nightmare scenario. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, the Golden State Warriors are facing the very real possibility of life without Stephen Curry. Not just for a game or a week, but maybe longer. The face of the franchise, the heartbeat of the dynasty, the man who changed basketball forever, is out. And he may not be coming back anytime soon. The Warriors released a medical update just before Game 4 against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it confirmed what fans feared most. Steph Curry is out with a grade 1 left hamstring strain. What does that really mean? It means the greatest shooter in NBA history is sidelined with a soft tissue injury known for being unpredictable, tricky, and easily re-aggravated. It means we've entered the most uncertain stretch of Golden State's postseason in years. Without their leader, without their floor general, and without any guarantee that he'll suit up again in this series. And that's not speculation. That's what the team is now saying publicly. Curry is out until at least Game 6. At the earliest. If that doesn't send chills down your spine as a Warriors fan, it should. Game 6 isn't just far away. It may never come if the team doesn't find a way to survive without him. The series currently stands 2-1 in favor of the Timberwolves. Game 4 is do-or-die territory. Lose tonight, and the season is on life support. But let's be honest, this isn't just about one game. This is about Steph's future. The fact that the Warriors' medical team is being unusually cautious, the fact that he didn't even travel with the team for Game 3, is raising questions. Is the injury worse than reported? Is the team protecting him from himself? Or are we witnessing the beginning of the end? Curry himself spoke to reporters just days ago, saying it's the first hamstring injury of his career. That's shocking. For someone who's dealt with ankle sprains, knee tweaks, and shoulder issues, this is new territory. And that unfamiliarity is part of what's so dangerous. As NBA insider Shams Charania reported, Steph's rehab timeline is murky. He's progressed to jogging and light shooting, but no sprinting, no cutting, no contact, and if he can't do those things in the next 48 hours, Game 6 becomes more of a hope than a plan. The timing couldn't be worse. The Warriors clawed their way into the second round behind the heroics of Jimmy Butler and the stability of Draymond Green. With Butler dropping 33 points in Game 3, it looked like the team might be able to hold the line, but a brutal fourth-quarter collapse, a 4-minute scoring drought, let the Timberwolves steal the game. Without Steph on the floor to slow the tempo, create space, and bend defenses, Golden State looked lost. And it's not just about points. It's about poise. It's about presence. When Curry is on the floor, defenders stretch to half court, teammates move with confidence, the offense flows. Without him, it's isolation basketball, rushed shots, and panic. Draymond's ejection in Game 3 didn't help either. Neither did Gary Payton II's limited availability due to a hip issue. But those are role-player problems. The real issue is this: Stephen Curry is not walking through that door. Not for Game 4, not for Game 5. And maybe not at all. The team says they'll reevaluate him before Game 6. But reevaluate is just code for we still don't know. And even if he's cleared, what version of Steph would the Warriors be getting? A guy who hasn't sprinted in a week, who hasn't cut on a leg that's been wrapped in ice and compression sleeves, a guy who's supposed to go from rehab table to playoff intensity in 72 hours? That's not recovery. That's a gamble. The whispers have already started. Inside the league, inside Chase Center, that this injury, this tiny tear in a muscle no one sees, could be the one that changes everything. We've seen superstars age in an instant. We've seen dynasties fade because one leg just didn't hold up. Could this be the moment that shifts the Warriors from contenders to a team searching for its next identity? For now, all eyes are on Jimmy Butler. He's carried teams before. He lives for moments like this. And his Game 3 stat line, 33 points, 7 boards, 7 assists, was vintage playoff Jimmy. But asking him to win 3 more games without Steph in a series against Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert is a massive ask, especially when the rest of the team looks this shaken. Klay Thompson hasn't found his rhythm. Jordan Poole is no longer around. Buddy Hield has stepped up, but inconsistently. And the young guys, they're talented, but they're not Steph. Which brings us to a terrifying thought. What if this is how it ends? What if we've already seen the last great Curry playoff run? If the Warriors can't push this series to 6 games, he won't return at all. And if the injury lingers into the offseason, the team could face massive roster questions heading into 2026. Do they rebuild, retool, pray for one more run, or finally accept that the dynasty era is over? One thing's for sure. Game 4 will define everything. If the Warriors win, hope lives. If they lose, it might be time to start planning for a future that doesn't include Stephen Curry on the floor. Before we go any further, make sure you're subscribed to Warriors News Fan Update and have notifications turned on, because what's happening right now could be the turning point in the Golden State Warriors story. Not just for this season, but for the entire dynasty as we know it. Steph Curry is out. Game 4 is looming, and the franchise stands at a terrifying crossroads. Let's be honest, without Steph, everything changes. The Warriors' identity, their pace, their spacing, their confidence. The playbook is built around his gravity. Even when he doesn't touch the ball, he controls every defender's position. His movement opens lanes, creates chaos, and forces opponents into constant mental exhaustion. Now, without him, that entire structure is crumbling. And it's not just what happens on the court. It's what happens in the locker room, in the film room, in the huddle. When Steph is there, there's calm. When he's gone, there's hesitation. And the Warriors, for all their playoff experience and veteran presence, are showing cracks without their North Star. Let's talk about the timeline. A grade 1 hamstring strain typically takes 1 to 2 weeks to heal under ideal conditions. But this isn't ideal. This is the NBA playoffs. This is postseason intensity. Sprinting, cutting, absorbing contact. The exact things that rehab doctors warn against too soon. Steph is reportedly still not sprinting. He's jogging, doing light shooting, but he hasn't cut at full speed. Hasn't taken live contact. That's not a player who's almost back. That's a player who's still trying to convince his body that it's safe to move. And until that happens, the Warriors can't even start preparing him for a return. Which means Game 6 is optimistic at best and unrealistic at worst. Sources say the Warriors are taking an extremely cautious approach, and for good reason. Curry is not just a franchise player. He's the franchise. Risking a re-injury that could cost him months, or worse, bleed into next season, is not on the table. That's why, quietly, the coaching staff is already preparing for the possibility that he won't return at all. That this postseason ride is one the team will have to finish without him. And that brings us to the rotation. Steve Kerr now faces the most difficult lineup decisions of his coaching career. Do you go small and fast, trying to outpace Minnesota, with motion and tempo? Or do you go big and physical, trying to slow the game down and grind out wins? Jimmy Butler is already carrying an impossible load, leading the offense, defending elite wings, setting the tone. But he can't do it alone. Draymond Green has to stay on the floor. His ejection in Game 3 was devastating, and his leadership in Curry's absence is more important than ever. Buddy Hield has stepped up, showing flashes of scoring brilliance. Brandon Podziemski continues to develop, but asking him to be a playoff floor general is asking a lot. Moses Moody brings defensive effort but inconsistent offense. There's no clear answer, and maybe that's the problem. No one on this roster is ready to step into Steph's shoes, because no one can. Klay Thompson, once thought to be the heir to Curry's shooting crown, has been quietly inconsistent. His struggles this postseason have been noticeable, and there's speculation that the end of his tenure in Golden State may be near. Without Curry to set him up, Klay has been forced into more contested looks, and the results haven't been pretty. He's never been a creator. He's a finisher. And with Steph out, those finishing looks are vanishing. The offense has become stagnant, predictable, easier to defend. And against a Timberwolves team that is long, athletic, and fully healthy, predictability is death. Off the court, the ripple effects are already being felt. The front office is on edge. There's talk that if the Warriors fall in this series without Curry, major changes are coming, not just to the roster, but to the entire organizational direction. A full-on rebuild is being discussed. One source even said this could be the off-season that breaks the dynasty apart. That's how much hangs on the next 48 hours, on Game 4, on the slimmest of hopes that Curry will recover in time to return if, and only if, the team survives long. Enough to give him that chance, and fans know it. The atmosphere at Chase Center is going to be electric, but anxious. There's a sense that this is it, that we may be watching the end of something special. Warriors Nation has seen championships, parades, unthinkable comebacks. But they've never seen this team walk into a must-win game without Curry, knowing he may never walk through that tunnel again this season. And if they lose, if this really is the end, how does the team rebuild? Is it finally time to turn the page? To give the reins to Jimmy Butler? To build around the next generation? Or is there one more miracle left? Here's what we know. The Warriors are bruised, battered, and short-handed. But they're not done. Not yet. Game 4 is everything. Win, and they stay alive. Win, and maybe, just maybe, they buy Curry enough time to get healthy. But lose, and the questions begin. About the future, about the dynasty, about the greatest shooter we've ever seen. Steph Curry has given everything to this franchise. Now, the franchise has to fight without him. Will they rise, or will this be the moment the curtain falls? Thanks for watching, Warriors News Fan. Update. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is this the end of an era? Will Steph come back and save the series? Or are we watching the final chapter of a dynasty unfold before our eyes? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us, because the next game could change everything. And if Curry doesn't return, we'll be here to tell you what comes next.